Okay, so let's take a look at some of the ASP.NET Core basics. So I have Visual Studio 2022, and first thing we are going to do is we are going to set up our environment or project for ASP.NET Core. So if I open Visual Studio and then create new project, and here you see, if I type in ASP, it should show me the result. Also, you can filter by checking web within this particular filter selector, and there you can go ahead and choose the core web app if you want, or MVC project. So let's say if I choose MVC project, then click next. Here you have project name web application 1. If you want to change the location, you can do so. Similarly, if you want to change the solution name, you can do that as well, right? The next thing would be to click next, and here you see place the solution and project in same directory. So that's one option that I didn't mention. Currently I'm not going to check this, right? So let's move ahead, click next. Now here we will be asked to go for HTTPS, which I'm going to uncheck, right? Also we have to choose the framework. So during the setup of Visual Studio 2022, make sure to also download and install .NET framework. So if you are seeing this in future, .NET is likely to be on 7 or 8 or whatever may be that within next 3 or 4 months. So right now I have 6 and authentication type. I'm not going to do that. So let's, and it should start the setup of our ASP.NET Core web app. And now on Solution Explorer, you will find the directories for our project, namely www root controller model view, right? So MVC folder here, controller model and view. Now there are also connected services, dependencies, properties, and there is app settings JSON. You can check that, double click on that, and once you do so, it will open one tab here with the details specific to app settings.json, right? We'll also take a look at one more thing, which is going to be the file that we are going to view, right? So within home index cs html, so that's one of the file. Here you see it says welcome. We are going to edit that and add our name into it, right? And also, now that we have made the changes within our index chtml, we can go to debug this. So basically, simply you press on this run option, or you can press F5 or control F5. So just press it and it should open your default browser with localhost pointing to your IIS server port. Okay, now here you see I have my Edge instance open, where it shows the welcome message that I just edited. Also there is privacy page, which I can also edit at the same time. And here you see the top navigation showing link to the routes. Also there is web application 1 name, which I can also change to something else, right? So now that we are out of our mode, what we can do is we can take a look at these directories. So within views, home, we have our index, privacy and other pages. So whenever you want to add a new page within your route, you can add it within your home. Okay, you can also create directory structure according to that, and make sure to add respective HTML pages. There is also shared pages. As you can see, this is imports and view start, right? So that's one thing. Then you have controller, right? So here you see the controller options. We will take a look at once we are adding respective logic for our controller, right? Then comes www root, where we have our CSS, JS and library files, which is specific to Bootstrap. Then comes the properties, right? And here you see it shows properties specific to IIS, right? And then comes connected services. We don't have any as of now, so we don't have the dependencies as well, right? Now on the left hand side we have SQL Server Object Explorer, where we have links to local DB and projects folder, right? So currently we don't need to have any database access, that we will take a look at later, but for now you can see that you get to access your local disconnected databases like localDB, or connected like PostgreSQL, MongoDB or SQL Server if you want, right? So that's for your some of the folder and settings and options within your ASP.NET project. So what we have seen so far is how to create ASP.NET project using Visual Studio and how to execute that. We'll take a look at a few other topics further down the road. Now let's take a look at few of the things that we can do. First we will do is we will try and right click on our project, then we will try and open project file. Now this is your project file as it shows web application 1.csproj, right? So the target framework, then the label, implicit usings are listed here. So these are some of the properties for your project are listed in this particular file. Now we can also take a look at let's say adding packages or also getting rid of packages, right? So to add the package, what we can do is we go to tools, and there we will try to find NuGet package manager, right? Then we choose manage NuGet packages for this particular solution. Right now here you see you have list of packages that you wish to add, right? So let's say if I want to add some package, let's say something like Blazor, so it's not there, so let's go with something simple. Let's say JSON. Let's see it find something, or we can simply browse through the NuGet, right? So this particular one package that we can see here, we can add to our project and click on install, right? Here we can click OK and we can check the changes, right? Now that we have installed it, if you go to dependencies then packages, you will find that this particular package is installed, right? Now if we try and check our project file, then it should be added within our project as item group, right? So that's one thing that we have seen how our project file gets let's say amended with the new change, right? So we'll close this for now. Then coming back to NuGet, here you see we have our one of the package already installed. So if I want to remove this, I can simply click on this uninstall, click OK. Now if I try and check for dependencies, the package option is gone, along with this particular package is gone as well. Okay, so let's take a look at www root folder within our ASP.NET project. So this is the folder that is created by default when you create the project within Visual Studio or through the command line, right? So here as you can see it serves CSS, JS and lib folder, right? So basically the CSS for your current site has global variables that are served from site.css. Similarly for JS you have those here. Here you can add your own, right? Similarly within lib you can find that you can use external CSS frameworks like Bootstrap, Foundation. Similarly, you can use jQuery or any other JavaScript library or CSS framework within this particular lib folder. Right now, there is one more thing. You can also drop your assets like favicon or some images within this lib folder, so you can refer to them easily. Right, so your asset should be like that. Right, so considering it's within www root, it is added in there instead of lib. So keep the lib for your CSS and JavaScript libraries, whereas asset can be directly dropped here, or you can even create a folder and then referred accordingly. Right, so one more thing is if we can rename this or not. Yes, we can rename, but we will have to also change what we have pointed to within our main class, and instead of www root, we will have to use that renamed update within that class as well. So this is about www root. Now one more basic thing that I'm going to cover is static files. Now if you see the views within home, you will find index.html. so this had our views logic where we have the placeholder text that shows this welcome and other messages like build web apps with .NET. Right, so if we want to serve some static site instead of this, we can go to www root, right click, add, and new item, and choose HTML page. Now within list, select HTML page, click add. Right, here you see HTML page.html. we will rename this to say demo.html. right, here we have some default text. We have title demo. Right, within body I'm going to add h1 tag. This is demo page. Save this. Now what we will do is we will simply run our web application as is and then point to this demo.html page. I'll also find one command prompt showing the updates on our server and its respective port. Right, now here you see your home page. Right, so let's change to demo.html, hit enter, and here you see that static page is served from www root. So you get the idea. When you want to serve some static content, you can use www root folder to serve those files. Okay, so next thing we are going to take a look at is launch settings. This is found within your project, and then properties, and then launch setting.json file. So here you see within this particular IIS settings, these are the settings specific for IIS. If you change them, it will reflect for IIS. Similarly, there is also IIS Express at the bottom, and as you can see, it shows those changes. Right, and here if you set to false, it won't launch the browser. Similarly, it will require development or production option within ASP.NET Core environment set to development. Right, and this particular is your project profile where you have your URL, right, and also the environment variable, which is a ASP.NET Core set to development, which is same as IIS Express. Now if you check, you will also find that at the top you have option to run your web application, and if you check the drop down, you have option for IIS Express that will use the settings. Similarly, there is WSL and this web application one. So this will make use of the profile settings here, right? And you can also check for web browser. Currently Edge is default. You can switch to Firefox or Chrome or Explorer. Script debugging is disabled. can enable it from here. So these are some of the settings specific to your properties and launch settings, right? And if you make few changes here, they will be reflected the next time you run your project.